everybody.
Hello.
Jenny Craig
Jeremy Craig.
from Copper Bottom Craft Distillery right here in Holly Hill, Florida, which is in the Daytona Beach area. I got this guy pouring me a drink.
I got in trouble last time for not having a drink ready, so
Rude.
I'm making one.
What are you making me?
Doing a little vodka. Since we're talking vodka today, we're going to do a little vodka time. Let's move this up some so my head's not completely chopped off.
I know, but you're so much taller than me.
That's
Does that not matter?
nature. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you there.
I like that about you.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so go
Vodka
ahead.
tonic with a little lime.
It's a little lime, yeah. Go ahead and fill in here while I finish this up.
All right.
Got anything?
Today we're talking about vodka. This is ours. We have won at least 2 awards, right?
Yep. 2 awards.
So we were awarded a silver medal from the American Distilling Institute, and that was last year.
Yep.
We've only been open for 1 year, so it had to be last year. It just felt
Sure.
like it's been longer than that. And then, hi, Sherry. And then we also were awarded a gold medal last year, and we were named one of the top 50 domestic vodkas. That's one of the top 50 vodkas in the country, you guys. This guy, right here.
At a little Holly Hill.
Little old Holly Hill, Florida. Daytona Beach area, that's where we are. Where are we today?
We're in the tasting room today because we usually would do this in the distillery, but I'm actually distilling vodka today, which is why we decided to talk about vodka. And since we're distilling it, it's pretty loud in there. So it'd be really tough to kind of hear us, and I'd rather you hear us than not.
Cheers.
Oh, you're doing this completely wrong.
What? Oh, label out.
Label out, yeah, see?
I'm
Cheers.
learning. I know, and I'm the marketing
You're the
person.
marketer. Come on now.
I'll figure it out.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
So we're going to be talking about vodka today a little bit. Like I said, the only reason we're not in the distillery today is because I'm making vodka in there right now, and it's pretty loud, and I would rather be able to hear myself think.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about vodka here today, what makes our vodka different, and just about vodka in general. Did you have something to say? It sounded like you had something to say.
No, I was taking a breath.
It just seemed like it.
Back
No,
up off me.
that's all right. So yeah, so we're talking
Hi,
about,
Pat.
are we going to do this for everybody that joins?
Well, it's hard. You have to be engaging.
No, I get it, but
Hi, Pat.
no, again, hi Pat, but are we going to do that like in the middle of when I'm talking, like every time?
I'm
or-
sorry. Just go ahead and go.
I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
It's a joke. Relax. See?
All right.
All right.
Pat says hi.
So we're going to talk a little bit about vodka today. Our vodka, like she said, we've won a couple of awards for, and honestly, for us, it was kind of an afterthought. We weren't really thinking about making vodka right away. We're going to basically focus on rum for a while. Now, we always had the equipment. We were always going to make it eventually, but we weren't going to make it right away. The reason we started making it, everybody was asking for it. I mean,
the first week we were open, we're like, hey, we're a distillery. We're focused on rum. Come on in. And they're all like, literally, where's the vodka?
yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy, actually.
Which is a great part about being a craft distillery is because we were able to pivot. I
Pivot.
should say you were able to pivot quickly, and I was able to provide the support for that. And we got out vodka. How long did it take to get that first batch out?
Not very long, because we had already done most of the experimenting. The biggest thing for us was, and the greatest thing about vodka is you can make it out of anything. Since we already use an unrefined sugar cane for our rum, we go ahead and use that for our vodka. I had already done all the experimenting on the silver rum, so I knew which yeast I wanted to use. I knew which yeast was the cleanest, so I went ahead and used that. We still use the same sugar cane. I actually have a little sample of it here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's just a raw, unrefined sugar cane. Works really, really well. And it's not easy to make a good spirit out of sugar cane, especially something like vodka, which is pretty neutral. But if you take your time and use great ingredients and actually make it, I'll get into that a little bit later. We actually make our own vodka, which we're a distillery. Of course you make your own vodka. Not usually the case, unfortunately. But yeah, so we make our vodka out of the sugar cane. We have a 300-gallon mash tun and 300-gallon still. We basically will add, almost 400 or 500 pounds of that sugar cane to 300 gallons of water. It's a little bit different than most vodkas out there. Most people, when they think about vodka, they think about potatoes, right? Vodka,
Corn?
Initially, most people think about potatoes.
Tito's. What do they make theirs out of? Isn't that corn?
I'm not talking about. They make theirs out of corn. Yeah.
They do. Okay.
But I'm not talking about them. We're talking about us.
I know, but that's usually what people think. That's the thing.
Well, no, usually people think about potatoes because vodka initially was made in Poland and in Russia. There's still kind of a debate about who started what, where, and whatever, but I'm half Polish, so I'm going to say it was Poland. So it started in Russia and Poland, and that's what they had. So they went ahead and they used local potatoes. Like I said, the great thing about vodka is you can make it out of anything. If you look on the shelf nowadays, most of them are made from corn, wheat, rye. There's still a few people using potatoes, not near as many as people think, because honestly, it's difficult to work with. It's low sugar content. It's messy. It's just not easy. And it's just a whole lot of work. So
even this morning, he knew he was going to be making vodka today. So he headed out extra early just to get a jump start on things.
Yeah. Vodka for us takes quite a bit longer to make than our rum. And that's just, again, part of the process. With vodka in general, since you can make it out of anything, and that's why we were able to pivot so quickly. We had the yeast that we wanted to use. We had the sugarcane already here at the distillery. That does two things for us. It saves us from having to store another grain. I mean, if you've been to the distillery, we only have so much space here, and we already take up a lot of it with sugarcane. So if we had to bring in wheat, or corn, or something like that, it would just be a lot more space that honestly we just don't have at this point. So it was great to be able to use what we already have. The other big secret in vodka, kind of I alluded to a little bit earlier, is that nobody actually makes vodka anymore. You go to the liquor store and there's hundreds of vodkas on the shelves, and the big surprise and the big secret is all of those vodkas, for the most part, were made in just a handful of places. Almost everybody, big, small, medium, it doesn't matter. Everybody buys in bulk spirits. They'll process it. They call it rectifying it. They'll filter it. Maybe they'll redistill it. Yeah, whatever. And then they'll just slap a fancy label on it and call it their own. And I'm not talking just small guys like us. It's a lot of the big names that you've heard of out there. Unfortunately, that's just an industry standard. That's one of the reasons I think that ours is doing so well, because we actually make our own vodka. It's something we're pretty proud of. We make every single drop that we sell in the distillery. So, sorry, did you have?
No, I'm just enjoying.
You're very animated over there. Hold on, I got a little vodka tonic. We're drinking vodka tonic because we're making vodka and we're talking vodka today.
And my mom just asked if I ate lunch, and yes, I did.
Good.
Otherwise, Jeremy will be.
For me, mostly.
They'll be taking care of you the rest of the day.
No. So again, we make every single drop that we sell. It's it's kind of a labor of love for us. We decided very early on that if we were going to sell something, that we were going to make it 100%. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so what he was just talking about with the folks that buy it in, slap a new label on it and then sell it, they're amazing at their marketing, because oftentimes they're marketing companies that just specialize in making spirits. Pretty much throw out any name that you know, right? Would you say that? If you know the name, if they have any celebrity endorsers,
yeah.
What else could we say?
If they're handmade,
if you recognize the brand,
yeah,
if it says handcrafted.
From Texas, it's pretty much
Jeremy.
Pretty much anything. I mean, no, there's honestly, it's more the norm than anything. And it's not even just vodka. It happens a lot in vodka where, and the reason for it, it's very expensive. It costs us 3 times more to actually make our vodka than it would be if we were to go buy it. I have the same access to all the same suppliers that everybody else uses. And it really does. I can buy it for a third of the cost, but there's a definite difference in the taste. That there just is. I mean, the biggest issue I have with vodka in general is they all smell and taste like rubbing alcohol. Most of them nowadays, they distill them to 100% ethanol for the most part, throw a little bit of water on top, and you're drinking 100% ethanol with a little bit of water added.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of smells and tastes like rubbing alcohol to me.
The nail polish remover, ladies.
Yeah. So what we do is we make what I like to call a more traditional style. There's really 2 styles of vodka. Well, there's more if you add a bunch of the flavors in, but there's really only 2 styles of vodka. There is a traditional style, which is what we make. And then there's a more, like they call it like a new school style, which is what most of the ones that are made in America are, modeled, or how they make most of the ones in America. And by traditional style, what I mean by that is that, first of all, that we make it. Second of all, we don't distill it to 100% ethanol. We actually distill ours to 192 proof, which is actually 96% ethanol. What that does is it actually leaves, that last 4% leaves just a little bit of character. So it doesn't smell like rubbing alcohol or nail polish remover, and it doesn't taste that way either. It's got just a little bit of character. Like I said, I would never drink, before we started making it, I would never drink vodka on its own. That's actually the way I drink this. I drink it on ice, a little squeeze of lime, except for today. Because you can, honestly. And I don't like adding a bunch of other stuff to it, but you can drink it either way.
A lot of people ask if we're going to do flavored vodkas.
No.
No.
And there's a couple of reasons for that. The biggest reason for that is, first of all, we do kind of pride ourselves on being a more traditional style of distillery. So we do, we make everything that we sell. And if I'm going to do a flavored vodka, let's say I'm going to do a cherry vodka, I'm going to use real cherries. The problem with that is it starts to get expensive. So if I was to make a vanilla cherry whipped cream vodka, first of all, two reasons. One, that's going to be very expensive. Second of all, the person who's buying that is probably not going to spend the extra money it's going to cost me to make it.
For a premium cherry vanilla whipped cream vodka.
Yeah, we're just not going to do that. Now, I will say this. If that's your thing and you like those kind of vodkas, which, by the way, occasionally I like a strawberry vodka.
Ooh, a chocolate martini, right?
You can do that as well. So the great thing is just get your own regular vodka and infuse it yourself.
By regular vodka, he means Copper Bottom Craft Distillery vodka.
No, what I really mean is what really makes the difference is start with a good vodka. A lot of people will tell you, if you're mixing it up or if you're just infusing it with something, just get the cheapest thing you got. Don't do that. There's a lot of impurities and additives and stuff that you'll get into those smaller, those other vodkas, and you're not gonna feel good the next day. Just do yourself a favor. Do your future self a favor, and
do your tomorrow
self a favor, and buy a better vodka. And if you want to infuse it with something, it's easy. Take a jar or something, fill it up with some strawberries or cherries or whatever it is you want to do. Fill it up and then just top it off with vodka. Let it sit for a few days. Actually, I would try it all the time. It's actually kind of a cool experiment. I've done it with a couple of things. It actually works really well. Just try it as you go and see what you like, and then when you're done, pour it back into the bottle, and now you'll have a really good strawberry vodka.
Our friends Carlos and Angie own La's Bistro in Ormond Beach.
Very good.
And we did a cocktail class, a dinner pairing with them one night.
It's a vodka class, actually.
It was a vodka class, you're right. And they did it was a Jolly Rancher vodka. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So it's very easy. They just took a bottle of vodka and they threw, 2 or 3 Jolly Ranchers in it, and whatever flavor you wanted. They did one that was a green apple. They did a watermelon. And honestly, it was pretty good. And I'll tell you, the reason it was pretty good, because most of these flavored vodkas out there, all they are is artificial flavors with a bunch of sugar and stuff added on top of it. So honestly, it wasn't that far off from the stuff you could buy in the store anyway. So
it just tasted a lot better.
Oh, yeah, that too.
It did taste a lot better.
Wow. So yeah, I thought you were going to keep going.
I take breaths sometimes.
Well, I know, but the breath, it's throwing me off.
My goal is to be done with this drink by the time we finish. What do you think?
Hurry up, sister.
Talk more about vodka.
Well, no, honestly, that's the biggest. Okay, here we go.
Okay,
we got something. You got
okay, first I have 2 questions. 2 that I get asked frequently about you. Number 1.
About me.
Mm-hmm. Before we
We're
started.
talking vodka today.
I know.
Just kidding.
Oh, I can't ask the second one then.
No, go ahead.
I'm just kidding.
Go ahead.
So, number 1, before we had this distillery, what vodka did you drink? Did you like? People ask that often.
They do. I'll tell you now that we make it, and now that I'm kind of in the industry, right now all I drink is either our craft spirits or other craft spirits because I know what goes into them and I know that there is a difference. Before, I think for the most part, I drank Kettle One. Kettle One is probably back then was probably one of my, if I honestly, and I haven't had it in so long, I don't know that I can even tell you that I would recommend it now. But
I won't tag them in this.
Well, no, honestly, no, that's what I used to drink a lot of. So I'm sure it's good. I mean, I have good taste.
Clearly.
Right. So yeah, I think, yeah, for vodka it was Kettle One. I will say this, I did get on I was on the Tito's bandwagon like everybody else was for a while. Once I found out the truth, I decided not to do that. And I'm not going to go any further.
Let's go into that, actually.
No, I'm not going to go any further. Go ahead.
No. I do want to go into that. So a lot of times people say they write on the bottle, handcrafted. And there is actually no government regulation to what a craft spirit is. And that's where the confusion is. So we can appreciate there is more than enough room in this industry for the big guys, for the marketing companies that happen to make spirits. There's more than enough room for craft spirits who take pride in what we actually make start to finish. But at the same time, don't say that you're something when you're not.
It's a little misleading. It is.
It is misleading, but there's no government regulation onto what is craft and what isn't. In Florida, it's just that you make under 75,000 gallons a year. And that could be a lot of places, but they could be shipping in 74,000 gallons a year.
Yeah, but that doesn't even really matter because all that really accounts for in Florida is that we have a tasting room and that you can come visit us and try it. I could bring in 100,000 gallons, not have a tasting room, and still put craft on our label. It wouldn't make a difference.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. And
I thought they regulated it to that much at least.
No. So that's the thing. You can literally. And here's the real problem. You really have no idea a lot of times what you're getting. How do you tell? Because I get that question a lot. How do you tell if somebody's just bringing in bulk spirits and repackaging?
That was my second question.
That's your second question?
Yeah, it really was. Can you look on the bottle, or how can you tell to know what you're looking at?
Sometimes. So what is supposed to happen on a label? On the back of the label, you'll see, and you're not going to be able to see it on camera, but it's always supposed to say, especially for vodka, what it's made from. So ours says distilled from sugarcane, because it is. If you ever see on a label distilled from neutral grain or cane neutral spirits or grain neutral spirits or neutral anything, they brought it in. That's just the way it is. They buy it in, and because technically they have to do that. Unfortunately, most of them don't. I mean, there's a lot of companies out there that I know for a fact buy it in, and I look at the back of their label and it's labeled just like anybody else's would. So the problem is there's not a whole lot of enforcement out there. So how would you know? Honestly, it's just doing research, going out. I will say this, usually the people who do make it, like us, we're pretty vocal about it. We'll tell you right away because we're, aggravated sometimes about the people who don't. So not aggravated. Like I said, there's always, it is a strong word. There is room.
Once again, there's room for everyone, but don't say you do something if you actually don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you have? There was more questions there.
No, that was the second question, was about the bottle.
Oh, about how you tell?
Yeah, how you tell.
Really, it is. You really just have to do some research. There's not a whole lot you can really do except for looking at neutral on the back.
People might say, though, that ours says bottled and distilled by 4C's Distilling Company in Holly Hill, Florida.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so that's one way you might be able to tell. 4C's Distilling Company, full disclosure, that's just our LLC that we use to open the distillery. We do business as Copper Bottom, but our actual LLC is 4C's Distilling Company.
And it's 4C's, like SEAS, because the day we got started, it was Jeremy, me, and his parents. So there's 4 of us.
Yes.
And nautical, I don't know.
And now there's more.
It just came to me.
Just now everybody's involved.
4 C's. Now we're 8 C's. No, I'm just kidding.
27 C's. I don't know.
Nieces, nephews.
Yeah, and so that's one way you might be able to tell. Sometimes you can tell if it's bottled somewhere else, they have to say that. If it's packaged somewhere else, or if it's distilled somewhere else, they have to say that. Again, they have to say that, but do they? Not always. There's plenty of places out there, or plenty of labels that I've seen where I've physically seen where it's been distilled or in bottled, and it doesn't say that on the label. Again, there's just not a whole lot of enforcement. Unfortunately, the TTB is pretty understaffed. I mean, I guess it's fortunate for some people, but,
not fortunate for us.
Well, yeah, they're pretty understaffed. So it's hard for enforcement sometimes on some of these smaller things. Now, something big happens or you don't pay your taxes, they'll let you know.
They will find you.
But, when it comes to, some smaller stuff like that, a lot of times we're self-policing, and I don't have time to go around reporting other people. So, and I just don't have the time or the energy. And on top of that, that's just not me. I'm just not going to do that.
Now that I know today we are drinking the vodka tonic with a little lime. Talk about some of your favorite vodka drinks, because a lot of times when people come in here, they don't really know how to drink good stuff to leave that good flavor in there from the spirits. What would you drink with our vodka? I
drink it just by itself. I know most people. No,
you're hardcore.
No.
Nobody else is going to do that.
No, I'm serious. So listen for a second.
Okay.
So what I normally do is I will drink it on ice, which a lot of ice, so it waters it down a little bit, and then I'll add a little bit of lime. Sometimes I'll add club soda or just a little bit of water. That way I can still taste it, because I actually like the taste and the flavor of it. We're drinking vodka tonics today. Tonic doesn't have a ton of flavor to it, so that's another way you can get it. Vodka Club, again, like I said, is another one. I like vodka martinis also.
I can't do that.
You don't like vodka?
A copper mule, babe.
Well, yeah. Moscow mules are very good.
Moscow mule. It's totally the hip thing right now. Like if you're having a birthday party coming up and you want to do something cool that all your friends are going to think you're so cool, show them the vodka.
Get a bunch of copper mugs.
And we totally had these things, these super cute little copper mule mugs. And they're the real copper too, like inside and out, not just like stainless steel on the inside that'll kill you, not those.
That'll kill you?
There's like that whole thing.
No, that was the copper, actually, not the stainless.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, the opposite.
Sorry, guys. Pretend like I didn't say that. But this copper is good.
Yeah, it's as good as any other copper out on the market. No.
I drink from it all the time.
Clearly. No, Moscow mules are very good.
That's just ginger beer, vodka, and lime. That's it. So easy, and you're so hip if you drink a mule.
Very easy, but you were talking about, vodka drinks, you could still taste the vodka. That one, the ginger beer kind of covers it up, but it's still very good. Don't get me wrong. So, I don't know.
Fine. Hey, let's look at some comments. People have been commenting. Paul Samaroff is blowing us up over here. Hey, Paul. Yeah, you should be afraid to jump on board with us today. Bernard says, glad to see you guys doing so well. The place looks amazing. Going to have to stop by and see it for myself sometime soon and try out some of the vodka. Yeah,
you definitely knew, Bernard. We've been talking about that for a while. So you need to come down and check us out.
Yeah, a lot of people who came in those first 2 or 3 weeks that we were open haven't been back since. You guys, come on. We have more now. We have, not only do we have the silver rum, which was our first, would you call it our flagship spirit? It's like our
I don't know if I'd call it flagship, but it was definitely our inaugural, our first one, the first one we did.
Yeah, so this is the silver rum. See, it says silver rum. And also, if you're in Florida, you can get this at any ABC liquor store. I think we're on the shelf in over 30 of them. But if they don't have us on the shelf, you can ask them for it. It's at the warehouse. They'll get it to you. Just place your order.
Same with the vodka, actually. The vodka and the silver rum, any ABC in Florida can get it. There's 7 or 8 total wines now that have it as well. So there's a lot of places you can pick it up. This one, on the other hand,
this guy
is tough to get.
Gold rum.
It's tough to get because we haven't really released it yet outside of the distillery. We have it. We're on the 3rd batch of it, but we really haven't let it out into the wild yet, so to speak.
There's a restaurant or two that has it in Tampa.
Yeah, there's a few places in Tampa. If you're lucky enough to be in Tampa and lucky enough to be around a few liquor stores and a couple restaurants, Taps.
Taps, they're so good, you guys.
Yeah, Taps.
They're right in downtown.
Right in downtown Tampa. They have.
Taps.
They actually have a handshaking daiquiri. On the menu, made with our gold rum, and it's really good.
We got to be there on the night that they were showing off, like doing a tasting with all the new drinks on their new
training
menu. Yeah, training for the bartenders. And so we got to try our copper bottom gold rum and some stuff. It was awesome.
It's really good, yeah.
Taps, downtown Tampa.
Taps, downtown Tampa, but also if you want to get the gold rum, you can also get it at Star Liquors. There's 3 or 4 Star Liquors there in town, and then Apollo Beach Liquor, which for all my Apollo Beach friends, there's a bunch of them. There's some of it down over there too.
And this is a bourbon barrel aged for 1 year rum. So it starts off, it's got that like whiskiness to it, and whiskey.
What does that even mean?
It'll probably use that as the screenshot of like the video, you know. But it starts off with that whiskey like ness. If you love whiskey, this is your guy. And then it finishes like a rum, I think.
Oh, absolutely does.
You agree?
Yeah, the aftertaste, and the more it sits on your palate, the more the sweetness of the rum you get.
Matt Jacobs, yes, come see us next time you come to Florida. We'd love to have you. What?
Are we still talking about vodka? I don't know. You started going into rum, so
I just wanted them to know what else we have.
Oh, okay. Trying to think if there's anything else about vodka I want to talk about.
Yeah, if you ever have any questions, just pose them and we'll get to them. Hope says she's not thirsty, so we open at 5 o'clock.
We open at 5 o'clock. I can't sell you a drink, but I can sell you a bottle. So yeah, come on through.
And we do free tours and tastings throughout the week.
Yeah, that's another thing. And actually, tonight's a pretty good night. We actually have the Florida Brew Tours coming through tonight too.
I love those guys. Florida Brew Tours. They have this super high-end, nice bus. They take around to the different different breweries in the area. We're the only distillery, and we are also on their map. So
and they do a lot of stuff in Central Florida. They also do it on the East Coast as well. I don't think they do anything in the West Coast of Florida yet, but I know
we have them. They've got their own, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, they're actually swinging by tonight.
And there was a good story about them just in the newspaper like a week ago, I think.
Yeah.
It was good. It was really good.
It's a couple of ex-police officers that started it up and decided they wanted to do something a little different. So,
Florida Brew Tours. Check them out.
Yeah, check them out. They're pretty good.
If you got a birthday party coming up, that'd be a thing to do.
And she'll put a little link or attach, to anybody we've talked about, like Florida Brew. Not anybody we talked about. Not everybody.
We can't tag everyone.
But like Florida Brew Tour, she'll put a little link in there so that if you are interested ever in talking about those guys or catching up with those guys, you'll be able to get in contact.
Chris Carter says best vodka around.
I mean, I agree, but I'm a little biased.
Gaston, hi. Gaston and his wife Katie had their rehearsal dinner here at the Distillery.
Yeah.
We also do events, private events. So, all right, we got a lot of people on this thing.
Yeah.
Probably wrap it up though.
Yeah.
What else do you have to say about your vodka?
It's good. Go buy it.
Come see us.
No, come see us. Check us out. Like I said, it is different. The biggest difference, kind of in summary, is we actually make it. It's made with an unrefined sugar cane. It's very, very smooth, very easy to drink. And like I said, coming from a non-vodka drinker, I drink this stuff straight, and I'm a non-vodka drinker. Well, yeah, that's a little different. but yeah, if you get a chance, come on by and check us out. If not, definitely go to your local ABC liquor store and check us out. Is that a hold on a second, or is this you're trying to finish this?
Well, I was trying to finish it before it's over.
So I can't wrap. Yeah, I was about to say that's
a
pretty big drink there. So thanks for stopping in and checking us out today. Whether you're watching us live or after the fact.
Let us know where you're watching from. We always want to know how far this reach goes.
Yeah, that's always good too. And I'm sure we'll be doing this. So far, so good. So I'm sure we'll be doing this again next week. Don't know.
Friday. Yeah, what are we going to talk about?
No idea.
If you want to learn about something or know about something or want to pick his brain,
shoot us a line. Yeah, shoot us.
Marketing.
Yeah, if you do have something in particular, there's a couple things I do want to talk about eventually. I definitely want to get into barrel aging. I want to get into rum a little bit more as well. So we'll do some little interesting topics like that, just kind of give you a little bit more idea of not just what we do, but just, rum, vodka in general, and even some other stuff, even some stuff we don't do. So we'll do that as well. And hopefully, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, right? Something like that. We'll be back next week.
All right, you guys. Thanks for all of your attention, and thanks for supporting us. Go Copper Bottom.
Bye now.
Bye.